Primary 5, Mrs Armstrong here. It's my chance to tell you a chapter of Gangsta Granny. It's chapter 26 and it is called A Figure in the Dark. A long winding corridor stretched out ahead of them. This was where the tourists from around the world queue for hours to see the crown jewels. The old lady and her grandson tiptoed their way silently along it, dripping smelly icy water from the Thames in their wake. Finally they turned a corner into the main room where all the jewels were kept. Like the sun bursting through the clouds on a grey day, the jewels illuminated Ben and Granny's faces. The pair of thieves stopped in awe. Their mouths fell open as they looked at the treasures laid out before them. They were more magnificent than anyone could imagine. It truly was the most superb collection of precious objects around the world. Dear reader, not only were they beautiful and priceless, they symbolised hundreds of years of history. There were a number of royal crowns. The St Edward's crown, with which the new king or queen is crowned by the Archbishop of Canterbury during the coronation ceremony. It's made of gold and decorated with sapphires and topazes, proper bling. The imperial state crown, in which were set an incredible 3,000 gems, including the second star of Africa, the second largest stone cut from the largest diamond ever found. No, I don't know where the first star is. The breathless imperial crown of India, set with around 6,000 diamonds and magnificent rubies and emeralds. Unfortunately not in my size. The 12th century gold anointing spoon used to anoint the king or queen with holy oil, not to be used for eating Cocoa Pops. Not forgetting the ampulla, the gold flask in the form of an eagle, which contains that holy oil, like a really posh thermos flask. And finally, the famous orb and sceptres. That's a lot of gear. Granny took out the rolled up supermarket carrier bag she'd kept in her handbag, ready to put the crown jewels in. Right, we just need to break through this glass, she whispered. Ben looked at her with disbelief. I'm not sure we are going to get all of those jewels in there. Well, sorry, dear. You have to pay 5 pence for plastic bags in the shops these days. So I only bought the one. The glass was inches thick, bulletproof. Ben had smuggled a few compound chemicals out of his science class and combined them to go kaboom if set alight. They stuck the chemicals to the glass with some blue tack. Then Granny attached one end of a pink ball of wool to the blue tack. Wool would be a perfect fuse. Then she produced some matches. They just needed to make sure that they were far enough away from the explosion. Otherwise they might be blown up. Right, Ben whispered Granny. Let's get as far from the glass as we can. The pair retreated around a wall, unravelling the pink wool as they went. Do you want to light the fuse? Said Granny. Ben nodded. He really wanted to, but his hands were trembling so much with excitement he didn't know if he could. Ben opened the matchbox. There were only 2 matches left. He went to strike the first, but his hands were shaking so much that it broke in 2 when he did. Oh dear, whispered Granny. Have another go. Ben picked up the second match. He tried to strike it, but nothing happened. Some river water must have leaked out of the sleeve of his wetsuit. Now both the match and the matchbox were soaking wet. No, cried Ben in desperation. Mum and Dad were right. I am useless. I can't even light a match. Granny put her arms around her grandson. As they cuddled, their wetsuits squeaked a little. Don't talk like that, Ben. You are an amazing young man. You really are. Since we have been spending so much time together, I am 100 times happier than I could ever say." "Really?" said Ben. "Really," replied Granny. "And you are so very clever. You planned this whole extraordinary heist yourself, and you're only 11 years old." "I'm nearly 12, said Ben. Granny chuckled. "But you get my point, dear. How many other children your age could plan something as daring as this? But we aren't going to steal the crown jewels now, so it's all been a massive waste of time." "It's not over yet," said Granny as she pulled out a tin of cabbage soup from her handbag. "We can always try some good old-fashioned brute force." Granny handed the tin to her grandson. Ben took it with a smile and then walked over to the cabinet. "Here goes," said Ben as he swung back the tin to strike the glass. "Please don't," said a voice from the shadows. Ben and Granny froze in terror. Was it a ghost? "Who's there?" Ben called out. The figure stepped out into the light. It was the Queen.